No. Like in my other time, oh, really? Did you have it? Yeah. It's
Well, that's good that they think that.
Seeing soda, they don't seem to like bigger water.
Yeah, we call, I call seltzer soda.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So many kids growing up thinking that that's.
Yeah. They got yogurt, like little cups of yogurt, they're like, oh, can we have ice cream now?
Yeah.
So they can have ice cream.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna get started. Hi, Debbie. Let's take a nice, all comfortable seat. So this week, just mentioning we redid our kitchen. We're also putting on an addition to our house for my in-laws. They're gonna move in with us. And they started construction this week. It's been a little, I've been having kind of a hard time with it because they're just ripping apart the outside of my house. Like our whole chimney had to come down and this huge garden bed and walkway. And it's just, it's unnerving to me in a way that doesn't make logical sense. It's more like on this like energetic level of like, I feel as though the foundation of my house is disturbed. And so I feel disturbed, and it's just very interesting. My husband doesn't have this issue with it. He's kind of like just watching me with curiosity. I'm like, bracing myself through it. But it had me thinking about how, and it really does, it makes sense that this kind of disruption is disruptive to our lives, because our home is our foundation, wherever that may be. And for some people, it's an actual house. And for some people who are more nomadic, they have their vehicle or whatever it is. We always kind of cultivate and find this little piece and place of home. Come on in. It's okay. So when the foundation of that concept changes and shifts, we feel it. We feel the effects of that. It reminds me in yoga of how important our foundation is in our practice, and how we build every pose from the ground up. And when we refocus again and again on the foundation of our pose, how much changes in the way that we build that structure. So we're going to play with that a little bit today. So just take a moment and sit up nice and tall and close your eyes. And give yourself an opportunity to land here on your mat in this moment. And as you do, hold space for whatever it is that's currently going on in your life, whatever happened this week, whether it was kind of smooth or if things weren't going well. And simply allow all of that to be here. Creating a container for yourself and for your experience. So much of our suffering comes when we resist what is. So this practice of allowing, of simply welcoming our experience, our emotions, our thoughts, the current state of our body, giving space to that can in and of itself bring a sense of ease and of relief. And then bring your awareness to your physical body and the parts of yourself that are on the ground. And feel that there is a ground beneath you, whether it is top or your mat, or the floor, or your seat. And then let your body drop down into the support of the foundation that's underneath you. Let your body get heavy. You could even imagine that your legs and your hips for growing roots deep and wide into the earth beneath you. And from that place of rootedness and of being grounded, on your next breath in, lengthen up your spine. Allow the center of your head to rise up towards the sky. And as you inhale, make space in your side bodies, getting longer from your hip to your armpit, and taking your shoulders up, back, and down. And feel these two separate areas of yourself, your foundation and the earth beneath you. And then the rise of the crown of the head. You could visualize that there's a cord that connects the very center of your head to the center of the universe. And then that cord travels all the way down your spinal column and goes from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the earth, to this magnetic core. Bring your awareness to your breath. Relax your tongue in your mouth so that it gets heavy and wide on the lower pelvis. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets as if you were dropping back and down into your stomach. And then feel your breath as it fills your body, expanding on the inhalation, drawing back in, contracting on the exhalation. Then please bring your hands together in front of your heart center. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. It could just be to become more aware of your foundation, whether that's something that feels very solid and steady in your life right now, or whether it feels as though the ground is shifting underneath your feet. Our yoga practice reminds us and welcomes us to come home to that part of ourselves that's always centered, always rooted. Our foundation of our divine light within us that's never changing, always present, so that we can stay rooted and centered, and we can be at home in our bodies and within ourselves, no matter what's happening around us. So let's seal in our intentions and begin our class by taking 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Then open your mouth and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands. We're going to start by taking our legs up the wall. So you'll want to have a wall to use, or if you're at home, you could always use some props or a couch to bring your legs up on. But if you're using a wall, you may want to have a blanket for your head, and then you'll come to sit with your, you can come right up there, with your right hip or either hip, doesn't matter, up against the wall. You'll lean back on your hands and lengthen your spine. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you'll quote unquote gracefully pivot and bring your legs up the wall. Remembering that grace is on the inside. And from here, you can decide if you want to be a little further away from the wall, or if you want to inch in scooch a little closer. It depends on the tightness of your hamstrings, what's gonna feel best for your body. Place a blanket under your head if your head gets heavy on the ground. And then bring your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. So take your time getting there. And once you're in a shape that you could commit to staying in for a length of time that feels relatively comfortable. This pose is very subjective in that way. For some people, it feels instantly relaxing, and for others, it can be challenging to stay in. So you do your best. And once you're committed to the shape and you don't have to make any more adjustments, then notice the ground beneath you. Oftentimes in this pose, we bring our focus so much to our legs, to what's happening with the hamstrings or the feeling of the legs up against the wall, that we forget about the rest of the body. So notice the entire length of your back, the back of your head, the back of your shoulders. Feel the backs of your hands on the ground. And see if you could allow all of those parts to get a little heavy. Almost as if the ground were made of sand. And the weight of your body made an indentation in the earth, in the perfect shape of your body. Notice your breath and see if you could draw your breath down into the lower belly so that as you inhale, the low belly rises. The ribs, lungs fill with breath, and the chest lifts, and as you exhale, those areas fall and draw back into yourself. So most of the time in our human lives, either our seat or our feet serve as our foundation unless we're laying down to rest or go to sleep. And when it comes to our feet, we have little chakras, little energy centers on the soles of the feet that pick up energy all day long as we walk around. We pick up energy from the place where we are and from other people that have been there. We pick up on a lot that really doesn't belong to us, but can be powerful in its ability to contribute to our anxiety or stress, feeling of being energized or feeling tired. So here you could visualize and imagine that a cleansing light energy pours down through the soles of your feet. You could think of this as a beautiful golden white light that pours into the soles of your feet and begins to illuminate every cell in your body as it travels from your feet to your ankles, up your calves and shins, into your knees and your thighs before it pulls into your hips and pelvis, traveling into your belly, your low back, filling your torso, your lungs, your heart. And as the light moves into your heartbeat begins to circulate the light through your blood and your veins, your arteries. And then the light continues to fill you, moving up into your collarbones and your shoulders. It travels down your arms, into your elbows and your forearms, your wrists and hands, fingers and fingertips, and then up through your neck and throat
into your jaw, your skull, filling your head and your face. And as it moves through you and lights you up from the inside, it clears out any energy that doesn't belong to you. It clears out anything that's stuck or stagnant or creating any blockages in your natural flow of prana or chi. And it takes anything that's not in your highest alignment and no longer serving you, and it moves it right out of your body. You could picture this as a gray or black smoke that comes out of your mouth as you exhale out of your nose. Or you could picture it as light just moving up and out through the crown of your head and back out to the soles of your feet. There's no right or wrong way to use this kind of energetic visualization to do this work. It's really the intention that matters. So let's just take a few more breaths here. On your next inhale, you could reach your arms overhead. If that feels good on your body, you get some length, lengthening out of your hips and your pelvis, and then bend your knees and slide your feet down the wall. Pause here for just a moment. Feel the soles of your feet now connected to the wall, connected to a support, a foundation. Continue to feel the back of your body on the earth and feel that you are grounded. And then hug your knees into your chest. You can slowly roll to one side and take your time coming all the way up. And make your way into a tabletop position here. You move your props, mat. Place your hands so that your wrists are right under your shoulders or maybe slightly in front of you. Take your hands a little wider on your mat. The pinkies could touch the outer edges of the mat and your index fingers point forward. Then walk your knees back until they're under your hips or slightly behind. So you want to give yourself more space here, more space in your foundation, and see what happens when you change that. Tuck your toes, or they could point straight back, but whatever is touching the ground gets really connected and rooted to the ground. If your knees are a little sensitive, use a blanket. And then connect to your breath before you do anything else. As you exhale, melt your heart, tuck your shoulder blades onto your back and extend out through the crown of your head. And then on your next breath in, we'll move into cat-cow. So as you inhale, you come into your cow tilt. Your sitting bones lift and widen, belly gets soft, melt the heart. Take your gaze up. As you exhale, round through your back, tailbone lengthens, draw your belly in, pull your ribs back, chin to your chest. Move with your breath. And as you do this, notice where your attention and where your mind goes. And see if you could consciously bring it back to your foundation, back to the earth, and notice how that changes your practice. This is sometimes called a somatic practice, really feeling into your body, really feeling what parts of your body are connected to the earth beneath you. And notice the difference from having a lot of foundation when you're in legs up the wall to now having a smaller foundation. Just your hands and knees and feet. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine, and then we'll move into downward facing dog. So tuck your toes and send your hips up and back. And now our foundation becomes even smaller and even more important as we take weight into our hands and our feet. Bend your knees and send your sitting bones up and back. Lengthen your spine, press your chest back towards your thighs. Keep that as you begin to straighten out the legs and press your thigh bones back. Lengthen through the crown of your head and notice where weight falls in your hands. See if you could bring the weight to the inner edges of the hands and press the bones of your index fingers and your thumbs down into the earth. Inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up pose. You could keep your knees lifted or they could come down to the ground. If they come down to the ground, check to make sure that your butt didn't just stick up or back. You want to keep that plank as you lengthen the tailbone down. Shoulder blades draw onto your back. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, bend your elbows straight back. Slowly lower yourself all the way down. Good. Notice that this earth energy that we're working with probably took your shoulders, the heads of your arm bones down towards the earth. You want to resist that here. You want to resist that in chaturanga, and you want to resist it in cobra pose. So you'll take your shoulders up, back, and down so that the heads of the arm bones are lifted away from the ground. Press down into your hands, especially the inner edges of the hands we just talked about in down dog, and press into the tops of your feet that are pointing straight back. From there, inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, downward facing dog. From here, right leg lifts as you inhale. Then lunge it forward as you exhale. Take a big step forward with your foot. Right knee is over your right ankle. You're up in this high lunge. You can be on your fingertips here, or you could use blocks. And then press down into your feet. Feel your feet on the ground. Hug your legs in towards each other. So here's a situation where we're really building the pose from the ground up. Noticing the feet, getting really strong and stable through the legs, drawing in towards our own center to create more stability. And then when you're ready, inhale, reach your arms up. And then bring your awareness to something that is into your legs, maybe to your head or to your arms, and notice how that changes the pose. Maybe you feel like you're gonna fall a little less stable. Now drop your awareness back down into your pelvis, into your legs, down through your feet, and see how that shifts and changes your posture, changes your seat, your asana. Lift your chest, your heart, gaze up. Then take your arms straight out to a T, breathe in, and as you exhale, bring your left hand down, reach your right arm up as you twist towards your right thigh. Keep pressing your left leg towards straight. Hug the outer hips in towards the center of your body. Breathe. Exhale, release. Place both hands on the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. You could stay right here in down dog. You could take child's pose, or you could move through vinyasa. This is a gentle and beginner-friendly class, so you move at your own pace, whatever that looks like for you today. There's no right or wrong option or choice here. It's your practice. Take a few breaths wherever we are. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Left leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Take your time, get it all the way up to the top of your mat. Left knee is over your left ankle. Press your right thigh and your right leg up and hug your hips in towards each other. Root down through your feet, especially through the big toe mound. And when you feel strong, stable, and connected to your foundation, then you can build your pose and inhale, rise up. And once you're here, you could play with that awareness again. What happens when I shift my attention to my hands, to my head, versus keeping it low, keeping it grounded. And breathe. Keep hugging the legs in towards each other. Back leg is straight. Maybe you sink a little deeper through your front thigh. Then inhale, arms out to the T. Exhale, right hand comes down, reach your left arm up as you twist. Reach out through the crown of your head as you press out through your back heel. Reconnecting to that cord of energy that moves through us. Couple more breaths here. And then exhale, release, step back into downward facing dog. Same three options here to stay in down dog, to move to vinyasa, or to come into child's pose. This time we'll all meet in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together. Hips back towards your heels, and you can bring your forehead either down to the mat, to a block, you can stack your fists. And rest your head that way. And here in this pose, take a moment to turn back inward and reconnect to that part of yourself. That place of stability, that place of home. And see where you feel that, where you imagine that to exist within your own body. Then walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through the left side of your body. You can take your left fingertips a little further away from you. And this may be enough of a stretch, especially if you're really tight through the side body. But if you want a little more, you could come up onto your right fingertips and bend your right elbow in a little bit, and then use that to press and send your ribs over to the left a little bit more. So it may not be necessary. We'll check in and see what works for your body today. Inhale, come back through center, pause here for a breath. And then walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through the right side. Keep the connection to your foundation, to your legs, and letting your hips be really heavy, moving down towards the ground. And then you can walk your right fingertips a little past your left, get a deeper stretch through the right side body. And that may be enough today, or you could come up onto your left fingertips, bend your left elbow in, and use this as a guide to steer and direct your ribs over to the right. Walk your hands back through center. And make your way back into down dog. For this one, if you have blocks, you'll want them up towards the top of your mat. Then as you inhale, take your right leg to the sky and exhale, step it forward. This time, pivot your back heel down and see that you have heel to arch alignment, which means that your front heel, if you drew a line straight back from your front heel, it would dissect the arch of your back foot. Once you have that, you can inhale, cartwheel your arms up and come into a warrior two. Bring your right hand to the center of your head. So let's say, take your middle finger, put it right to what you imagine to be the center of your head. Yes. And now take that part of your head and see if you could bring it right over your tailbone, right over the base of your spine. Yeah, did you feel how you leaned back a little to do that? So the tendency in warrior two is to kind of lean out over our front thigh. We want to keep that alignment from the center of the head right through the tailbone. So now bring your arm back out into warrior two. Flip your palms and take your shoulder blades onto your back. Good. Keep that, turn your palms down. Bend a little deeper through your front thigh if that's available to you. Couple of breaths. And then see if you can soften through your shoulders, not work so hard through your arms. That was really beautiful, you guys. Flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. Your back hand comes to your back thigh, but it just leans lightly. Just rests there. Keep leaning back, lengthening out of your pelvis, out of your hips. Come back to your foundation, feel your feet. Press down into your right foot and straighten your right leg. Keep leaning back. Then inhale, float your arms back up to a T. Exhale, reach your right fingers past your toes. Keep that length in your spine as you come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So if you bring your hand to your block on the outside of your right shin. And same thing here, imagine that the center of your head is still forming that straight line all the way down to your tailbone. Here, your ribs begin to rotate. Left ribs move back, right ribs wrap forward, so your heart starts to open towards the sky. Breathe. Little bend into your right knee, cartwheel your arms down, downward facing dog. Same three options here. Down dog, child, vinyasa. Always pause, take a drink. And then when you're ready, inhale, your left leg lifts. Exhale, step it forward up in between your hands. Pivot your back heel down. Once again, find that heel to arch alignment. Once you have it, once you're stable through your feet, inhale, cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. And so we'll check in again here. Bring your left hand, middle finger right to the center of your head. And then you notice if you're kind of leaning out over your leg, if you could bring the center of your head right over your tailbone. Keep that, extend your arms out, gaze out over the left middle finger. Flip your palms and draw your shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Do this without jutting your front ribs forward, keep them tucked in. And then the palms face back down. See if you could soften through your arms, through your shoulders. Maybe you bend a little more deeply through your front thigh. Couple of breaths. Then flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Nothing changes in the legs. The foundation stays stable, stays rooted and steady, and instead it's just the upper body that's moving, that's more flexible, it's able to flow with the changes that life presents to us, right? Feel your feet on the ground, press into your left foot, straighten your left leg, keep leaning back. So your kneecap lifts here, your thigh engages to protect your hamstrings. Then inhale, bring your arms back to a T. Exhale, reach your fingers past your toes, and then find triangle on the second side. Here, there's a little twist that happens in the torso. So the left ribs underneath you begin to wrap forward. The right ribs begin to move back. And you can find a little softening here in the right ribs as you extend out from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head and open up your heart. Little bend into your left knee. Exhale, cartwheel your arms down. Step back into down dog. Option, we can move through a final vinyasa here. And then come back once again, child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together, forehead to the earth. Let your heart soften down towards the ground. Inhale, come back into down dog. And here we'll move into pigeon. So you'll take your right leg to the sky as you inhale, and then bring your right knee forward towards your right wrist as you exhale. Your shin crosses the mat. So the rule here for pigeon is that your right knee has to be outside of your right hip. Doesn't matter if your shin is parallel to the front of the mat or if it's at an angle. You do, however, want there to be engagement through the leg and stability in the ankle. So you'll hug your legs in towards each other, try to level your pelvis towards the top of your mat. Maybe this means you walk your back knee back and in towards the midline a little bit. Inhale, your heart lifts. And then this could be your pigeon pose today, or you can start to come down. Come down onto blocks or onto your forearms, all the way down onto your belly, whatever variation of pigeon feels best for you today. Depending on what's happening in our bodies and in our hips, this pose can really take us on a journey. Can take us away from the present moment into the deep sensation of whatever's releasing from the hips. So here we can use the earth and use our foundation to keep us rooted and grounded, help us move through it. Anytime the mind starts to wander, or anytime the body starts to tense and brace and resist what is, see if you could bring your awareness back to that somatic experience of noticing yourself connected to the ground, of feeling your breath fill up your body. And maybe, just maybe, you could let go and release and surrender into the experience a little bit more. Inhale, begin to walk your hands in. Make your way back into down dog very slowly. You can take your right leg up to the sky and open up your hip. Bend your knees, stack your hips, coming into three-legged dog. Go ahead and release, and we'll switch sides. Left leg lifts as you inhale, bring your left knee towards your left wrist as you exhale. So the knees outside of your hip. You can point or flex your left foot and walk your back, toes back, maybe in towards the midline a little. Hug your legs in so your pelvis starts to level towards the front of your mat. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhale as you come down. You can use those tools that we've cultivated to stay present, noticing the earth and your connection to it. Maybe you feel that magnetic pull towards the center of the earth, gravity. You can also visualize that golden white light moving in and swirling around in your hips, especially if there's a lot of sensation and tightness being released. Few more breaths here. And as you inhale, start to make your way back out, pressing up and back into down dog. From down dog, you can take your left leg to the sky, open up the hips, step one on top of the other, and feel your dog. Exhale, release. And then come on down to hands and knees here. You'll make a decision if you're in the studio today about whether or not you'd like to receive Reiki in Shavasana. So it's completely up to you. If you do, you'll keep your head towards the center of the room. And if you don't, you'll bring your head towards the wall. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. So head towards the wall, no Reiki. Head towards the middle of the room, yes, Reiki. That way you just don't have to flip around again. When I take yoga, I'm like, once I'm down, laying down, don't make me move. Don't make me get up again, no more down dogs, right? So from here, as you lay down on your back, bring the soles of your feet together and take your knees wide. And reclined cobbler, reclined butterfly, Supta Konasana. Bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. And sink back into that loving support of your mat. Release any tension that's in your jaw. Soften your tongue. Take your inner gaze up towards the center of your brain, kind of up and back towards your third eye center. Notice what that changes, if anything. And then feel your breath fill up the space underneath your hands. One of the many gifts that our yoga practice gives us is the ability to cultivate this art of being present, where we can become still in the eye of a storm, so that on the inside we can remain calm and centered, kind of regardless of what kind of hurricane may be happening around us. And that's not to say that we live our lives like that every second of the day, because that is not attainable, but rather that when we notice that we're being battered by the storm, that we're being thrown off course, or that we're having a difficult time, that we remember, oh, I can come back, I can find my way back to this place of stillness within me, even if it's for a moment, a breath, 5 minutes. I can recenter and then be perhaps better equipped, better prepared for whatever is being thrown at me next. Inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Take your feet as wide as your mat and let your knees knock in onto each other in a constructive rest. So you could bring your feet a little closer in towards your seat or a little further away and play with that distance to see what feels best on your body. But here you really want your knees to be able to rest and support into each other so that your psoas muscles, really big muscle that is what allows us to stand upright as humans and walk around. It's really connected to our stress levels and our fight or flight response, the sympathetic nervous system activation. We can let that begin to relax here. We can let our knees knocking into each other offer this support and foundation so that it's safe for that muscle to release and to relax. Oftentimes we go through life with this feeling of being unsafe without even being consciously aware of it. And so this container that we create and hold for ourselves on our mat gives us that safety to relax, to let go. We'll be here for a couple more breaths, and you could keep your hands where they are, or you could slide them down and bring your thumbs together right at your navel and the rest of your fingers to meet so that you're creating this triangle shape, this mudra, yani mudra, with your fingers that points down towards your pubic bone. And breathe into that shape. Inhale, knees back to center, hook both knees into your chest. You can give yourself a little massage here on the low back, making circles in one direction, other. Come back to center. Keep your right knee hugged in and extend your left leg long on the ground. Take your right knee in your left hand, right arm comes out to the side, take the breath in here, and as you exhale, you'll twist, guide your knee across your body over to the left, and roll onto your outer left hip, pinky toe edge of your left foot comes down to the ground. You can gaze out over your right shoulder. If your right shoulder lifts up off the ground, don't worry about it. You could just bring your right hand to rest on your right rib cage. Inhale back to center, extend your right leg to meet your left. Pause here. Just notice there's a difference between the right side of your body and the left side of your body. Before you draw your left knee into your chest and take your left knee in your right hand, left arm comes out to the side, breathe in, exhale to twist. Same thing here, you could look out over your left shoulder, and if that left shoulder pops up, just bring your left hand to rest on your left rib. Inhale, come back from center. Once again, hug both knees into your chest. Then take your knees wide, soles of the feet up towards the sky for happy baby. You can grab onto the pinky toe edges of your feet. Take your ankles in your hands. And you could decide if you want to stay stationary or rock side to side. See if you can move your sitting bones towards the earth, maybe making a natural curve in the low back. Shoulder blades connect onto the back of the heart. Chest lifts. From here in this final pose, become aware of the ground beneath you. Of the earth supporting you. You could take a moment here to say thank you. And then whenever this pose feels complete for you, you could make your way into Shavasana. If there's any other pose or stretch that you feel your body needs or your body needs right now, you can go ahead and take that. Does anyone have any sensitivity to smell? I use like a little essential oil. What's that? Oh, I'm sensitive to goods. It's sage. It has a little bit of burning. That's fine. Yeah. I'm allergic to it. Yeah, that's not good. We don't want to do ICUs. No one can serve it. And then once you get settled in Shavasana, elevate your body up. Let your muscles rest and relax. Let your bones rest and relax. Let go of anything that happened before this moment. Let go of anything that is yet to come. And give yourself permission to fully surrender into Shavasana. Very gently begin to deepen your breath. Drawing awareness back into your body as you begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And start to move and stretch in any way that feels good on your body. When you're ready, hook your knees into your chest and gently roll to your right side. And then knowing that there's no rush and moving in your own time, you begin to make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. Once you arrive, close your eyes. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And take a moment here to call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Feel free to modify or change it in any way to use for the rest of your day or to carry with you back out into the world. And then take a moment to honor yourself, to honor that part of yourself that's always present and always available, that divine light within you, and our ability to always come home to it. And then let's end our class and sealing our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors the very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice. It's so lovely to be here with you today. Enjoy the rest of your day. If anybody wants to use the sage cleansing spray, do it here. And have a great rest of your day and weekend. Thank you. Let's say goodbye to Debbie. Let me see. Bye, Debbie. Unmute you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you so much. Have a
Take
great
care. You too. Bye.